In today's adventure, we will talk about Norman families that come to Scotland. We will talk about those that remain loyal to the Crown of Scotland. Those who end up disloyal to the Crown of Scotland. Jacobites, Williamites, they're all part of this story. Today you find us deep in the hills of Perthshire as we look at Pitcur Castle.
The earliest known record for these lands is 1315, and the land was recorded as being in the ownership of the Chisholm family. And it's probably them that built a castle here. We're not sure, there's no remains of this. In 1432, the castle passed into the hands of the Halyburton family by marriage, and it was them that built this castle that remains today in the late 15th or possibly the early 16th century. And here they would remain as the principal seat of their family until 1680, when the Lord Halyburton of the time would build and then move his family to Halyburton House. But little did he know that he would only have a few years to enjoy his new manor. Whilst the tower remains and is a scheduled monument, there would have also been other buildings, courtyards, outbuildings, even a walled garden. Not much appears to remain on the ground level today, but hopefully when we get the drone up we might be able to see where those buildings were. It's almost certain that after the castle fell into ruin though, that the stones were reused to build the farm on whose land this castle now sits.
First time we see the Halyburton name in records is actually a Walter Halyburton, or Walter D. Halyburton, because they hadn't dropped their Norman name as at this point. And he donated money to the Abbey at Kelso. His grandson would actually be one of the nobles that would be summoned to Berwick to sign the Ragman's Roll of loyalty to King Edward I of England.
Well, to be fair, didn't have much of a choice in the matter. It was that.
No, okay, they did. I mean, the nobles that actually did have to go and sign the Ragman's Roll really didn't have a lot of choice, and many of them would turn against Edward the first chance they get. Henry that signed the Ragman's Roll, his grandson would be fighting in the Second Wars of Independence, and he would actually be fighting with King David of Scotland, and he is captured and taken ransom at the Battle of Durham.
In 1439, Walter would become the Lord High Treasurer of Scotland, and he would also be made a Lord of Parliament as well. It was probably a thanks for his service, because he too was held hostage, this time on behalf of James I.
Danger, keep out. Danger. Ah, it's locked. Yeah. Ah. Wow. You can certainly, if you look in through here. Yeah, so we have this very large fireplace here, looking up, first floor there, second floor, third floor and attic, and down into the vaults here. There is obviously local farmer and such like's been storing some stuff in there in the past, but yeah, you can clearly see the vaulting for the stores. Doorway there. Yeah. Oh. And another fine piece of vaulting here. And you can see another wee alcove built into the wall just up there. You can see the posts where the post holes for the different floor levels. The bold Pitcur fell wi' a fair, and clever's gad a clanky o, and I had fed on Athelgled on the braes o Killiecrankie o. Those are the words from a famous folk tune called the Battle of Killicrankie, or just Killiecrankie these days. And it refers to gentlemen who lived in this very castle. He was known as the Huge because he was so fat. He was a loyal supporter of the first Viscount Dundee, or Bonnie Dundee as he was known to his friends, bloody clavers to his enemies. He was said to have, when he'd heard that Viscount Dundee had raised an army on behalf of the exiled King James, he had called for his horse, and being so enthusiastic, he jumped upon the horse, and also being so fat, he broke its back as he jumped on. Now, whether this is just a story made up by his enemies after his death, we shall never know. But we do know that he did die on the braes of Killiecrankie. And the reference to the bold Pitcur fell wi' a fair refers to his death at the battle as he died alongside Bonnie Dundee on those braes. was not bad enough for his family that they'd lost a loved one at the Battle of Killicrankie, but Williamite troops would actually come into this area and actually seek retribution upon his wife and child who were staying at Halyburton House. So, inside on the first floor, you can see the windows that would have been lighting up the Great Hall. This is us directly above the vaults, and now you can clearly see what would have been the main staircase up through the castle itself. Just that one tower that took you up to the various floors. And you can see what would have been the main fireplace here, which did have some nice featuring round about it. It's a lot of ivy growing round about. But yeah, so this would have been the first floor in the Great Hall, and this window would have been down a bit. Yeah. Very interesting. You see, fortunately nature's had a good go at it. You can see these trees that have grown inside. But yeah, certainly wouldn't like to come here in the summer. You would not get any access over here. More bits off your Great Hall here. And a better look at those alcoves that go into the main wall just up there on the third floor. So if you look into that there at the side there, on the first floor. Don't know how it's going to turn out in the camera because I can't look at the screen, but yeah. So, this is life inside Perthshire in the 1600s. So you can actually see a better view of the tower and the staircase that would have taken you to the various floors here in the castle. Yeah. Let's see if we can get a wee look up in there. Somebody's conveniently left a small piece of ladder. I should be able to get a couple of steps up onto and get the camera up and in. Yeah, I mean, it looks like some of the collapse that looks fairly recent there. Probably coming down off that section there where that tree's fallen and taken down that part there.
I would like to point out that this is the original yett for the castle. This isn't modern, this is the original yett that would have kept the castle safe from invaders.
Ah, okay.
Still doing its job today.
Still doing its job today. If the window was in the open, yeah.
Minor inconvenience.
Yeah. But in here in the fireplace itself for the kitchen, you can see, which was quite common to have wee shelves and that in the side, so that the heat for things that you just wanted to keep hot during the day or didn't want to put over the open flame, but just to heat up, they were just wee shelves at the side for things like that. Yeah, chimney goes all the way up from your kitchens. So yeah, it's very interesting. Oh, got a wee robin's joined me on the inside the castle. Friendly wee fella. Don't know if you can see him on the camera. James Halyburton, another descendant, would become the Provost of Dundee for 30 years. He would, in fact, be an opponent of Mary, Queen of Scots, and fight against her at the Battle of Langside. Another member of this family would rise to power. George Halyburton would become the Bishop of Aberdeen. And despite his age and frailing years at the time, he would actually join the raising of the standard for King James in the 15 Uprising.
And it wasn't just the men of this family that stood out in history. Marietta Halyburton, Lady Hume, she negotiated the surrender and the capture of Castle Hume after the Scots' defeat at the Battle of Killicrankie.
So I hope you've enjoyed this just wee look around this castle. It's unassuming compared to some of the castles we do, but the family themselves take a prominent part in Scotland's story. So I hope you've enjoyed finding out as much about the castle and the family as we have.
Thanks for watching our video today. Please consider liking and subscribing to help our channel grow so that we can keep doing these videos for you guys.
Yep, and hopefully we'll see you soon as once more we explore Alapa and beyond.